latest updates, subscribe to News 9.
Hello, you're watching News 9 Digital with me, Prajwal Prasad. And when the entire country as well as the entire world is battling the deadly COVID-19 disease, education across the world has come to a standstill too, with the schools and educational institutions being shut down with the fear of the pandemic. Now, finally, when coming to Karnataka too, the expert committee was formed by the state government to look into the modalities of online classes, which was submitted in its report on the 7th of July. The committee has allowed both live as well as pre-recorded classes, but has set some guidelines as well. The report was titled as Continuation of Learning in School Education of Karnataka was submitted by the expert committee. The report was submitted by a 11-member committee which was led by M.K. Sridhar. The report lays down guidelines for technology-enabled education during the COVID-19 pandemic. So, what does the new timetable look like for online classes? So, students between the age group of 3 to 6 years will have maximum one session for 3 days a week, which will be for only 30 minutes. And the presence of parents is mandatory when the online session is going on, and it will mainly be an interactive session in the form of a play, a story, rhyme, as well as innovative activities also. So students between grade 1 to grade 2 will have 30-minute session each for maximum 2 times in a day for 3 days in a week. So parents' presence is also mandatory here too, and interactive sessions are also there. Now moving to students between grade 3 to 5, 30 minutes of one session, that is 2 sessions a day and 5 days per week. And the parents' presence is mandatory over here too, and 25% of the syllabus will be curricular activities and 75% of the syllabus will be general or co-curricular activities too. So students between the grades of 6 to 8 will have 30 to 45 minutes per session depending upon the school as well as the parents and students too, and it will be 3 sessions in a day for 5 days in a week as well, meaning to say that they will have 15 sessions in a week, and the presence of the parents is preferable over here, and meaning to say that the parents would definitely want to sit it out over here because that would be in the better interests of their children over here. And 50% will be curricular activities over here, and the remaining 50% will be general or co-curricular activities as well. Moving ahead to students in standard 9 and 10, 30 to 45 minutes per session and 4 sessions in a day and 5 days per week. And parents' presence is optional over here. The parents can be there along with their children, or else they might choose not to do so as well, because the expert committee has told that it is quite optional. And 75% of it will be curricular activities and mainly concentrating on those concepts which will be helping them going ahead even when they are choosing their further classes too. And 25% of them will be general or co-curricular activities now. So what is also the recommendations of the expert committee? Because on one side we have looked into the timetable, the number of screen time for online education as well. But there are also certain recommendations which stood out from the expert committee. No child will be de-enrolled from the schools if they are unable to access classes. There should also be some sort of virtual help desks to support children, parents and teachers, and it should be created by the respective organizations, schools along in collaboration with the government of Karnataka. So the digital content should also be available as recorded content. So if a student has any sort of doubt, they can go through these episodes as well if there is any. And also the curriculum should be reduced over here, considering the fact that the students have almost lost out on 45 to 50 days of education, and the focus should be on key concepts and essential ideas which is needed for the students. Also, extra sessions should be provided for students with special needs as well. And schools should be transparent, make their plans and methods available in the public domain so that it will be transparent for the parents, the students and the teachers as well. And if there is any violation of guidelines by the respective schools, the department has to immediately act upon the complaints of the parents as well as the students too. So these are some of the recommendations of the experts committee. But also now there is some of the do's and don'ts for online classes as well, because there has been a lot of criticism, because let's also understand this was the very same committee which had initially stated that online classes should not be done for those students who are studying in pre-KG till standard 5, but now they have been forced to do so because the MHRD came up with a new guideline saying that the states will have to go ahead and conduct online classes because the schooling and education system cannot be stopped at this point of time. So they had to come up with this. So now there are some do's and don'ts too which has come in now. Engage with digital content only during the day, meaning to say that conduct online classes only during the day and not any time in the evening or night. Any screen time less than 2 hours prior to sleep is detrimental to the child's health. So if a child is sleeping, say for example at 9 p.m, the classes should have ended by maximum 6:50 p.m. So there should be a 2-hour gap before the sleep as well. Otherwise the circadian rhythms could change and this could bear a lot of ill effects on the health of the child as well as the sleep cycles too. And technology based sessions shouldn't interfere with a child's eating time and its physical activity as well. And monitoring and regulation should be left to school and parents where they can decide this mutually. So these are some of the do's and don'ts, but there is also vast debate, discussions which are being held as to what will be the criteria as well as the guidelines too, which has already been stated. But somewhere the expert committee, surprisingly at this point of time when there are more and more number of COVID-19 cases that is coming and it is considered to be quite unsafe for the children to go ahead and venture out of their residences, they've come up with guidelines and criteria for reopening schools here. Because they have stated that schools can be opened in areas having less number of COVID-19 infections and children can play within their communities, may it be gated communities or their apartment complexes or else even in their street too. So also looking at low risk areas, the children should be divided into small batches as per age and should be allowed to go to school once or twice in a week is what has been stated, and teachers can give them learning material till the next visit. But let me tell you one thing, second PUC exams understood, SLC exams understood, CET exams, yes, it is detrimental for the future of the second PUC students, you can go ahead. But how about these small children? Because it is not so easy for the government of Karnataka to manage these small children like how they manage the SLC students as well as the second PUC students too. So this particular recommendation that has come in from the committee is absolutely baffling at this point of time, and it has come under a lot of pressure. The government has also come under a lot of pressure over here. And apart from that, we are also seeing the concept of community schooling over here, where school-like platforms can be created for children from the same habitation by mapping children with the available space and a willing adult who can help them use the learning material which has been given by the teachers at the school for 1 week or more than that as well, depending on the time frame that is available. The teacher dependent model is also one where a teacher would be considered as a mentor who will always be in a constant touch with a set of children, but also school level planning is required over here, because if they ignore even one student and the rest of them get through, it will also cause not only a lot of mental damage, but also there will be a lot of repercussions as well. Now, open book examinations or assessment is one thing that has already been submitted by the expert committee, saying that this year at least there should be an open book assessment which says that the grades from continuous and comprehensive evaluation and open book assessment can be clubbed for final grading. So these are some of the criteria for reopening schools and assessing the students as well. But how right is it on the part of the government of Karnataka to come up with something which is not even possible? Because as of now, the teachers are miffed, the students are miffed, the parents are miffed. So all the stakeholders who are important for this entire environment are miffed with this expert committee's report. So what use is this is something which needs to be questioned now and again. And now I will also be putting in front of you the facts about the digital divide between urban as well as rural students too, because it is a known fact that rural India is still taking up to digital education or else even going online as well. So Here is some of the stats, and surprisingly, the stats has also been given by the government of Karnataka in a survey which was conducted by the Education Department. It says that 58.4% of students from grades 1 to 5 have access to smartphones and internet. So this is the overall percentage of the state. But when it comes to one of the districts, only 43% of students from grades 1 to 5 have access to smartphones and internet in Yadgir district. Whereas if you come to Bengaluru, you have 77.7% of the students from grades 1 to 5 who have access to smartphones and internet in Bengaluru North. Meaning to say that you have a difference of easily anywhere between 25% to 30%. This is the bridge that you are seeing between grades 1 to 5. Whereas if you are looking between grades 6 to 8, the overall access to smartphones and internet for the students is 57.5%. And the lowest smartphone and internet access is in Chamarajanagar district with only 42.2% having an access over here. Whereas the highest smartphone and internet access, no rewards or no awards for guessing it, there is Bengaluru South with 77.6%. Again a gap of 30% over here, and 63.8% of students from grades 9 to 10 have access to smartphones and internet over here. And again lowest access is Chamarajanagar. Even between the grades of 6 to 8, access for smartphones and internet is less in Chamarajanagar. Again between 9th to 10th, we are seeing lowest access in Chamarajanagar with 46.2% and highest access in Bengaluru South with 81.5%. A deficit of over 34%. So this clearly goes ahead and highlights the fact that Karnataka, or else at least rural Karnataka, is definitely not ready for online classes. And even if you are conducting online classes, the government of Karnataka could have considered the initial report which was filed by the 11-member committee, where they stated that online classes can be taken for students above standard 6 as well. But that has been thrown aside now because the MHRD insists that education should go on. But how right is it on the part of Karnataka to conduct online classes for students between standard 1 to 5? And also how right is it on the part of the government of Karnataka again to reopen schools as well? If you have found this video interesting, also drop in your opinions in the comment section below, and also do not forget to like, share and subscribe to News9 on all the digital platforms. Thank you for watching.